Breaking the mystery of filmmaking is very important, and festivals like this are really a part of that. For a film festival like Norwich to be backed by BAFTA and to get the promotion means that it goes far and wide. I've been a supporter of BAFTA, I've been on their boards and done a lot of their juries and stuff. You know, they're a really essential part. So for the festival to be acknowledged by them is really great.
There are some fantastic festivals in the UK that are finally getting the recognition they deserve for the strong content, but also just running a fantastic schedule and festival. So we're thrilled to see that it's now on the BAFTA B qualification list.
The smaller festivals I find have a much more community spirit. They just seemed like nicer environments, and you can get to talk to the filmmakers. We came to a few events and it seemed like a really nice festival and really well run and really smart people.
I think it's so good that you can make a film, have it shown locally, and then you can actually qualify to be BAFTA nominated.
I think qualifying for BAFTA consideration is a very positive thing, because if you qualify for a BAFTA, you might win a BAFTA. And if you win a BAFTA, then you get a big gold face on a stick. So I think it's an excellent development.
It's such a prestigious award, situation, and it's brilliant that a film that shows at the Norwich Film Festival is eligible for entry to BAFTA.
If anything, it's just going to increase its potential. I mean, it's going to be on more filmmakers' radar, which is always good. Getting filmmakers to send their content to festivals is an important part of the process. So I think having that extra stamp of approval is just going to do wonderful things.
As soon as I finished the film, this was the first festival that I wanted to enter. It's just got a really good reputation, and I knew that it was BAFTA accredited, and I just thought if we can win here or if we can get in here, then it would help us on our road to BAFTA.
I think that it's very important that BAFTA acknowledges the work of the various film festivals around the UK and around the world.
I think having BAFTA accreditation is huge. The first year is when you go for those big accredited festivals, and yeah, I think it'll really help Norwich become bigger and bigger. It deserves to. It's a great festival.
Norwich Film Festival has always been on our radar because it has a fantastic programme, but also the fact that the festival really looks after its audience. It kind of curates for what their audience wants, but also presents them with something that they might not have considered watching before. And that's why we love sending our content here.
I think it's brilliant for the festival. I'm very supportive of the festival. I've been going for many years, and I congratulate them. They've worked hard. It's fantastic news.
Every now and then you get surprised that you're still talking about things like this, because you think, well, surely we've moved past this. And then when you look at the numbers, you realise that actually, no, we really haven't moved past this.
I think the thing about filmmaking, theatre, whatever, it has to reflect the world we live in. And this is the world we live in, and certainly, women 50% of the population, so it has to happen.
It's really welcome that they are holding a light to women in film. Also, the fact that on their programme this year, there is 42% were made by women, female directors, and I think, in the industry, that's a huge change from what you're used to seeing.
We're judged on merit of the filmmaking rather than unconscious bias. We're almost at 50%, as it should be.
It's always been curious to me as to why there's been so few films made by women, given that the audience for most films is made up from 50% male-female, and often a bigger percentage of women going to the cinema.
And the push to include more women in the industry is really important. I think that's how you get more interesting stories, a wider range of stories on film, if you're opening the industry up to those kind of experiences. And also female crews, like people behind the camera, is so important to have that equality.
It's great, all these things going on a kind of lower level, but we still need this kind of almost seismic shift. If you look at, the bigger films, the bigger mainstream films, so much of them are still told from the male gaze, from the white gaze, from that kind of white male perspective. And I just think we need this kind of real shift where we're telling so many more stories.
I think there's still definitely a way to go. I think we're definitely at the point where it's raising awareness. I think a lot of people still don't really think about the fact that it's still quite unequal and that there is still a lot of inequality in the industry, both on screen and off. And I think that there's definitely more to do, but it's a good start.
Indigenous voices or stories about trans people, and not necessarily about their particular journey. It shouldn't necessarily always be about that story. Perhaps you should just have more characters in there, it shouldn't necessarily be the focus of it, it should just be.
I think it's important that we recognise that equality is something that we persist with over a period of time and continue to persist with forever, and doesn't become a gimmick in order to grab headlines.
Obviously it's not just about men and women, there's so many things that are important in terms of the diversity of filmmakers.
Advice for young filmmakers is just keep doing it, keep working, keep getting advice from people. Making films is a huge process, a huge learning process.
There's no better way of learning how to direct than to direct, so either write things, learn about story structure and understand what inspires you as a human being, and then try to put that into a story.
The ones that don't give up halfway are the ones that really do succeed. It's that perseverance really is very important.
People who are established in the industry, they're more than happy to talk to people who are breaking through. They always are. I've never met anybody in my life who's not wanted to help me when I was younger coming into this industry.
If you believe in your idea and you think it's a good idea, don't give up on it. Don't kind of take rejections to heart too much. Learn from them and just keep pitching and keep trying to get it made, and you will eventually.
Be open to feedback. Feedback is a gift. People can give feedback and maybe it might hurt or maybe you disagree, but you should always have an open mind to feedback.
Make the film that you want to make.
Go out there and make it on an iPhone, edit it on your friend's laptop and get it in front of people. Do it, because it's so difficult. Don't let the money hold you back. Don't let people saying no to you hold you back. Make the film.
Don't wait for anyone to kind of come along and give you permission, because it may never happen.
Yeah.
And believe that you can do it. You're the only person with your point of view and perspective who can tell the stories that you can tell.
So don't wait for permission. Just produce stuff however you can, as much as you can. And as long as you enjoy doing it, then you've already won. But you haven't necessarily won a BAFTA.